Alrighty, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Comics Run the World podcast. As always, I'm your co-host Mateo. Just like in every other episode, I'm accompanied by
Frankie. How's it going? How you been?
pretty good. You know, school, trying to look for a job. That's been a struggle because no one's responding to me back. But it is what it is, you know.
It is what it is.
What about you? How's life? How's everything going?
Same old. Nothing new, just playing video games, reading comics, going to work.
Fair. That's the perfect cycle.
Can't complain.
Right. So speaking of which, I decided to do this new thing. I'm not gonna call it warp the entire time. I'm just gonna do watched, read, and played since the last episode. So I'll ask you, what did you watch, read, and play since last episode?
I need to watch the second episode of Invincible. I haven't seen it. I've only seen the first. I've been playing Resident Evil 8 and Ghost of Tsushima, and I have been reading JMS's The Amazing Spider-Man run.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What about you?
I saw the second episode of Invincible yesterday. Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, it's good. I also watched The Killer last night, the new David Fincher, Michael Fassbender movie. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I was expecting to like it. But it was still a pretty good movie. I still had a good time with it. Since last episode, I read quite a bit actually.
Yeah, I have two actually. You go first. I'm just okay. I'm just remembering.
I read volume 1 of both Once and Future and Homesick Pilots. Both of them didn't really like. It was kind of like it was okay. Which I was so disappointed because for Once and Future, the artwork, Dan Mora does the artwork, and it was drawn amazingly. That's like the thing that I really like was Dan Mora's art was amazing, but just like the story, pacing, all that stuff didn't really land for me. Same thing with Homesick Pilots. It started off pretty cool, but then more and more it went on. I was like, okay, I don't know. I really don't care. But I also read the Exit Stage Left, the Snagglepuss Chronicles. It's it's a part of the Hanna-Barbera line, whatever it's called, for DC, way back when they started Rebirth.
Okay.
It stars Snagglepuss from like the Hanna-Barbera comics from like the 50s and 60s, and also featuring other characters. And I was very surprised how good it was. I really liked it because it takes place during like the Cold War and the Red Scare. So I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting take to take these cartoon characters and twist them into this like kind of like a social commentary on like that era, and just like tackle like societal issues and stuff like that. And I think it did it pretty well. Reading right now Orion by Walt Simonson. Amazing. Obviously, probably a little teensy bit of bias, but I'm really liking it. I'm on book 2 right now, and I'm on volume 6 of Berserk. Just started today.
Nice.
And then I just been playing Fortnite all the time.
Dude, the OG Fortnite's a lot of fun. I've been playing it a lot too.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of which, Fortnite, they're adding Invincible now to Fortnite.
Are they?
Oh yeah, they just announced today.
I'm buying them. Wait,
they got Invincible, Omni-Man, and Adam Eve.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it got leaked like 2 days ago, and it was officially announced today.
When is it going in the shop?
I have no idea. I think they just like showed like the skins and like the back blings and
yeah. I'm buying it.
Yeah. It looks really cool, and I was like, damn, I really hope I don't. Yeah, I mean, I've been grinding Fortnite because it's like that's all I've been playing. When I get home from school, I just get on Fortnite, just play. But yeah, I'm excited for the Invincible crossover with Fortnite.
Okay, well, that's money out of my pocket, but I had to look it up real quick. But yeah, that's what I remembered is I was traveling recently and I read The Last Ronin.
Oh, how was that?
It's really good. It's really good. There was one thing that held it off from literally being perfect. I only had
Okay.
one issue with it. Basically in like the second to last issue, like one of my, not even just in comics, just in general, I hate when like battle plans are over explained. Like we're gonna go here and then we're gonna enter, and like
Yeah.
the second to last issue there was a lot of that because they were like, you know, attacking like the main bad guy base basically. In that second to last issue I was like, holy shit, shut up, like I
Right.
don't care.
Show don't tell.
But besides that like it's really a minor gripe, but besides that it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. And they're coming out with a sequel, aren't they? Like pretty soon with like a new group of 4 turtles.
I know that the hardcover just released. I haven't read it, and I'm probably gonna buy it. It's called The Last Ronin: The Lost Years.
Okay.
I think it's made by the exact same creative team, and it's basically everything that happens, not like before, as in like when the turtles died, because that's shown in the Last Ronin. It's kind of like what, spoilers, Michelangelo was doing before the Last Ronin happens. And yeah, I mean it was great. It was great. I still want to read it on the podcast. I want us both to review it because
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to reread it. And you're definitely gonna enjoy it after reading IDW, because it's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be the successor to like the spiritual successor, because like it's really more of an alternate timeline, but spiritual successor to the original TMNT, the Mirage, or
Right.
if it's really just its own thing. But there's a lot of characters they, you know, I won't say who,
Okay.
but
Okay.
you would read it and be like, oh, like look, it's, you know, it's cool.
Okay. I'm excited. I've been meaning to pick that up then and read it for a while, but I just never got the chance to yet. So
Maybe
whenever,
we could review it after we finish the IDW series. Is like,
that's fair. Yeah. Great idea. So some news just to lightly go over. We got 2 trailers that came out recently. The first one, Madam Web. Now, I don't know about you, man, but that was probably one of the worst comic book movie trailers that I've ever seen.
I can't think of anything worse than that.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Spider-Man at home guy, Ezekiel, whatever. Don't even know. Just like the whole everything just looks terrible. Everything looks terrible.
It's funny because I'm reading JMS's Spider-Man right now, and that's when Ezekiel is introduced.
Okay.
He's nothing like whatever they're showing in the trailer with the black suit and all that. It'll be interesting to see how they treat him, because in the run, like in a broad overview, he introduces himself to Peter, and he's got all the powers Peter has. He's just like Peter. He's a Spider-Man in a sense, and you find out that it's because he did this. There's only supposed to be one spider totem in each universe, but he did this ritual to become another one. And it seems like he's Peter's friend, but he's actually kind of trying to get Peter killed because he needs for Peter to die so that he can be, because one of them basically has to die because there's 2 and there's only supposed to be 1. And then at the end, Peter's about to die, and Ezekiel's like, wait, I'm kind of being an asshole, and then sacrifices himself to save Peter. It's really good.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. This is the best way I can describe it. I'm not a fan of the spider totem stuff, but it's really well written. Like, even if you don't like the spider totem stuff and all of that, it's still really well written, like as a story. So I don't know what the hell they're gonna do with Ezekiel. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I know I'm not gonna spend $15 on a ticket to see that movie. That's for damn sure.
I might have to see that train wreck. I don't know. It looks like a train wreck.
Oh yeah, it really does. Second trailer we got was a season 2 trailer for What If. I mean, I don't care for it, but
I loved season 1 though. I really, really, really loved season 1. It wasn't perfect.
Yeah, I like some of the episodes, but like again, I just hate how they tie it like all together at the end. I don't know why they could
Yeah,
just like left it as a anthology thing. But Infinity Ultron was pretty cool though. I really like
yeah.
Infinity Ultron.
That was my biggest issue with it. I hate how it has to all tie into each other. Like,
Right.
I love the idea of it just being an anthology and letting each episode be contained. So I agree, but I still really liked it. I want to see Marvel do more animation. It
Hmm.
drives me crazy that they won't do more animation.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
hope it's good.
Yeah. Speaking of Marvel, we got two potential alleged castings for the Fantastic Four. And it's not
Oh
fully set in
yeah.
stone yet, but there are heavy rumors going around that are like on the precipice of being confirmed. And that is first one, I honestly don't know how I feel about it, is Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. I I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm just like I'm in a weird position to like on how I like view that. It's
Yeah.
just like I don't know.
I I don't know. I don't like the casting of Pedro Pascal, but I didn't like the casting of Robert Pattinson as
Hmm.
Batman. I mean, I think I would just be a terrible casting director, or like I think I just don't know what I'm talking about. So I don't know. I I think it's a bad casting, but I don't know. I do see what you're saying. I could see it working out though.
Yeah,
Like I could see him. He's a great actor. Like that's just a
yeah,
fact. So
but it's just like I don't know if this type of role is like suited for him in a sense, like Mr. Fantastic. But I don't know. I guess if it once it is officially confirmed, then we can start like really like going into it. But now it's like very like heavy rumors that he's like in the final talks of like signing on to be Reed Richards because he has like 2 or 3 other shows to do, including The Last of Us, which he won't be in The Last of Us for that long. Spoiler alert.
yeah, yeah. Spoilers. This is gonna be his last season.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
I'm in the boat of. I still think John Krasinski would kill it.
really,
I swear, I think he'd kill it. I don't care if you don't like how he did in Multiverse of Madness. That's first of all, that has more to do with writing, I think, than anything, than his
yeah,
performance.
right,
Um, I don't know. I think he would kill it, but you also have to think they could have offered it to him and he may have not wanted to do it because this is a role that's gonna. I mean, this is one of like this is. I don't want to say the next Iron Man, but like it's
right,
a huge part of the MCU going
yeah,
forward.
especially. And I'll talk about this a little bit later down the line. It is like a essential role for like
Yeah.
the next chapter or what have you, next saga for the MCU. So I hear a lot of people say like Glenn Howard, the one guy from It's Always
Always
Sunny in
Sunny.
yeah, him as Reed Richards. That's like a popular fan cast. The guy
Always
from
Sunny is one of my.
You,
Oh yeah, I guess I could see that.
yeah.
Always
My
Sunny is
Mr.
one of my favorite shows of all time. It is my favorite show of all time. I mean, it would be hard for me to see him as anything else, but
Right.
as Dennis. But I don't know.
My Mr. Fantastic will always be the Mr. Fantastic from the early 2000s Fantastic Four movie. He was like the perfect casting for Mr. Fantastic. So, I don't think anyone will top him in my opinion because I grew up with those movies and I love the fan and like him how he is Mr. Fantastic and I just love that whole cast. I think that whole cast is like perfectly done with Jessica Alba, Michael Chiklis, and Chris Evans. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. And then we got Javier Bardem, maybe being Galactus, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an even harder one for me to say anything
Right.
on. I mean, Galactus is like, I don't know how they're gonna even do him. So
I know. So I'm not, hopefully not a cloud again. That's for damn sure. And then we got another casting for the Superman Legacy movie. We got the engineer from the Authority has been cast as I
I
think
don't know.
one of the villains in the movie.
I don't know who that
Um,
is, but
yeah, I read like the first like 3 issues of the Authority, and I think I put it down for like whatever reason. I think it's like I just never picked it back up. But yeah, she's like a I don't know if she's like an android or like a robot or just like has a coat of metal over her, but that's what she is. But yeah, so stacked cast for Superman Legacy. Last but not least, moving on real quick is I feel like a lot of people are saying, and there's like a lot of rumors going around that that the MCU is moving away from Kang as the next big bad.
I keep seeing that too.
I'm like, I don't know, like,
especially after Loki season 2. Like,
right?
I don't know. Really, you're like that whole
Yeah,
show really sets up Kang again, like season 1 did. So
exactly. So like, I don't know, like what they're doing. I mean, we're gonna talk about more once we're in our segment in a few moments about the MCU.
yeah,
But it feels like they're going into this new saga with like barely a plan, or like a plan that's like very like weak, or just like yeah.
yeah,
So
they're trying to change it on the fly right now. It seems.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's like been like huge talk about like the MCU is it's like on its downfall, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. To each their own, but I guess it just all depends on like how they handle it, or if it's actually true that they don't know what they're doing, or they actually do know what they're doing, but you're just holding it back because they don't want to announce it yet or whatever. But I guess we'll see. In an alternative world where we get to control the MCU, this is how we would do it. So on today's segment, we're gonna talk about two things: fixing the MCU post Endgame, and what would we do if we are in charge right now. Would you want to start us off real quick?
So post Endgame, I think post Endgame is a good place because, I mean, of course there's probably little things here and there, but there's not much I would change before Endgame. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Like, I pretty much keep it as is. I'd change a couple things, but for the most part, they nailed it. I also wouldn't change anything post Endgame Spider-Man related, both Far From Home and No Way Home. Keep it as is. I think they handled it great. What I would do, I would get rid of phases as a whole. I would get rid of this whole idea of like phases. I don't think any of that matters. What I would do is I would set it up as like we have the galactic side of Marvel. We have like the Avengers level threat kind of area.
Yeah.
And then we have the ground level, like Spider-Man, Daredevil. And there's kind of like an extra component, like the mystical side, but they kind of go in between ground level and Avengers level threat, like Doctor Strange, but then like Iron Fist. So they're kind of like a fourth, I guess. And I would just let each of those three, I'd let them do their own thing, like just like how they do in the comics. Like Annihilation was happening at the same time as Civil War, and there's like a one page where in Annihilation they're talking about Civil War, but besides that, these events just happen, coinciding with one another, and I think that's how they should do it in the movies. Like, let the cosmic side let it all lead up to Annihilation, like everything. Not like each movie doesn't have to specifically have something but like how it was in the beginning of Marvel, like you had solo movies, maybe like the after credit scene shows like how it showed Thanos grabbing the gauntlet. It can show like Annihilus real quick.
Yeah.
Then I would have the Avengers and Fantastic Four. That's kind of like your second, like the Avengers level threat tier. I'd have the Avengers focus on Kang and the Fantastic Four focus on Doom, because Doom and Kang are kind of intertwined. Like, are they related? Are they not? Those two characters. So you could have all of those characters and teams like meshing or doing their own thing. So that's what I have for them. And then for the street level, I would have it either lead to like Devil's Reign, or you could do your own thing. But no matter what, I would have like kind of the big bad be Kingpin, Wilson Fisk of that. And then for like the mystical side, like I said, I don't know if that deserves its own category. They could kind of mesh with almost
Yeah,
all of them.
that's
Um,
true. Yeah,
so yeah, that's how I would do it. And then obviously, I mean, I'll talk about specifics in a bit more, like which characters I'd introduce, but I feel like you'd have to have the OGs start it out, like for the Annihilation, start it with like the Guardians since you've already had
yeah.
them, and then with like the ground level, start it with Spider-Man, you've already had him, and then that leads into new characters.
Okay,
But
I like it. I like it.
that's my plan.
Alrighty. For me, kind of different. I do agree with the cosmic Avengers and street level the side of things. I would keep pretty much everything that we already got from post Endgame, but just have it not as like thrown out as it was. Like have it everything like spaced out and like take their time. If anything, I would have said like have like a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe even 2 year gap between Endgame and like their next project, just like to cool down after everything just happened.
That's a good idea.
Work on like scripts, special effects, post production stuff, record like filming everything without having to be rushed, people overworked and stuff like that. That way, because I was looking at everything that's been released for phase 4 and 5, and they all had the potential to be something great. Most of the time, uh, they kind of fell flat. There are some ones that really stuck the landing. For example, No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy, Loki, stuff like that. And I feel like if they took more time to like really develop their scripts, get an idea of what they want to do, it would have been a lot better than what we got
Yeah,
right now. Because either they're a lot of them already have been rushed, uh, maybe not even like what was it rewrites, reshoots, stuff like that.
yeah,
So and like actually have like an already established like timeline or like a rough draft of everything, so you don't have to keep like switching it back and forth, doing research to delete this one scene or to add a scene to tease like another movie or whatever. Just like have everything already established. And honestly, I would like to have it like everything less connected to one another. Just like
yeah,
have it being their own thing, like
yeah,
do their own thing, kind of like what Echo seems to be, or it's just its own thing in like the street level side of it. Because I know they're doing Marvel Spotlight, which is focusing on street level stuff, which is
yeah,
something is that's cool, but they should have done it from like right from the get go.
yeah. I think I agree. You can do like have everything be less connected while still leading up to something
Yeah,
bigger. Like that's how those movies were in the beginning of the MCU. Like the movie would have almost nothing to do with Thanos, but maybe he's in the after credits or you know, I think that's why the after credits were so good back then was because they were able to lead up to Thanos while letting the movie be its own thing. And
yeah,
that's how I feel like it should be done. Let the movie be its own movie. Obviously I think there's some cases where like maybe a movie does lead up more than other movies. But
yeah,
I fully agree.
yeah. Another thing is that change up the how like the formula for like the Disney Plus shows, because no one wants like the 5, 6 episode bullshit. Like if you want to be a miniseries, let it be a miniseries, like 5, 6 episodes, fine, but don't let each episode be like 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
have it be like a full hour, because you get more time to develop what you're trying to say or what you're trying to like tell the story of, instead of just being crammed into like 5, 30, 35, 45 minute episodes and have like 10 minutes of credits. Because that was like the first thing that I noticed when like WandaVision came out. It was like, oh, it's like 45 minutes. I'm excited, and then like it ended at 35 minutes. I was like, oh, okay, there's probably gonna be a post credit scene. That's why like, there's like 10 minutes of credits. I was like, oh no, there's nothing. So just like have it like all like an hour, and then like have the credits, whatever. Like like don't include the hour with like the credits, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
like just
yeah.
have an hour of the actual show and then like, do your credits. And focus on the Fantastic Four and X-Men. Like,
Okay, I will say maybe you'll disagree. I would save the X-Men for like I would do like a big period of time after Endgame before I did the X-Men. I would focus on like the Avengers taking care of Kang, and I think the multiverse idea is really fun. I would run with it. Maybe do Secret Wars still.
yeah.
I think I would wait to the X-Men. Maybe I don't know. I feel I'm probably in the minority saying that, but
I feel like since like I don't know when they acquired the rights of X-Men Fantastic Four, but it's been a long time since they acquired the rights for those characters, and they just now started doing everything with like Multiverse of Madness, having Professor X, Miss Marvel, having Miss Marvel be a mutant instead of an inhuman, which is in its
dumb.
own thing. Yeah. It's in its own thing. And then that got synergized into the comics. So I was like, oh, I was like, okay. And then, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't watched The Marvels, I watched it. I liked it. But the post-credit scene with Kelsey Grammer's Beast making a cameo was, I don't know. It felt kind of like shoehorned, in my opinion. I felt pretty shoehorned. So I do agree, like, just like at the beginning at least, post Endgame, have everything be like all its own thing, and then introduce a Fantastic Four and the X-Men, but not wait as long as like they did right now with like trying to like do like how they're gonna do like the X-Men or Fantastic Four, because that's been like a whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have been quicker on getting the Fantastic Four together. I would have had them
Yeah.
start getting together right after Endgame. The X-Men, I think I would have slowly rolled out, like very methodically and slowly. And then after like the next big Avengers, like the next Endgame type event for the Avengers, then I would kind of have. I think I'd probably have the X-Men almost replace the Avengers as like the MCU's biggest
Yeah.
team.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, that's why I think I'd do it slowly, because I'd want another like Endgame type event, probably
Yeah.
Secret Wars. And then I'd kind of have the X-Men be the biggest team in the MCU.
Right.
But speaking of Disney Plus, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a
Okay.
great idea. But if I was in charge of the MCU, this is how I would do the Disney Plus shows. Or maybe not even shows, but just the Disney Plus Marvel stuff. I understand that the MCU wants to be family friendly, and I think that's overall, I think it's a good thing. Like, it allows a broader audience to go see your movies and make more money. But that's why if I was in charge, I would have the Disney Plus stuff be almost like a black label. And I would have it be like the Punisher movie or series, the Ghost
Yeah.
Rider movie. That stuff goes straight to Disney Plus, and that way you can almost have your cake and eat it too, where you have like darker stories with characters like Punisher and Ghost Rider. And it can tie into the MCU, but it doesn't have to like correlate to the movies as much. It can be just really self-contained,
Right.
and it can be a darker story that not everyone has to watch. Because like, that's you're not going to get the box office money you're going to get from like Disney Plus that you're going to get at the movies. So you could have a smaller budget, especially for something like The Punisher. That doesn't need to have a huge budget. So yeah, that's what I would do with Disney Plus. I think it'd be really cool for just like the more mature stuff. Because I can somewhat understand not wanting to do like a Punisher movie, because it's going to have to be rated R.
Yeah.
And then that cuts off some of the younger audience that loves the MCU. So I can kind of understand why they don't want to do it, but this lets them do that.
Yeah, I agree. That kind of just like made me think about something else. Like one of like the main complaints about the Marvels is like you have to watch a movie that's not the first Captain Marvel movie, which is Multiverse of Madness, and you have to watch Miss Marvel, Secret
WandaVision.
Invasion, and WandaVision. So that's like homework. It's one thing for like a comic book to do it. Like you just read like, oh, okay, I'll just read like a couple issues that like it takes place beforehand or whatever. But like these are like a commitment to like watch
Yeah.
all these projects to fully understand what's going on. And I guess they kind of did it in the Marvels, where like they kind of like recapped like how everyone got their powers, like where they are right now and stuff and whatnot. But I feel like that type of approach to these projects, where it blends in someone from the Disney Plus shows and someone from like the movies into like in one project together, and having to watch both of them or like multiple things beforehand, is kind of dumb, in my opinion. So I guess like I wouldn't know how to like approach that because I'm not a I'm not a film writer or anything like that. But I just feel like there should be like a better approach to that, other than making people watch 2 or 3 other projects to understand like who these characters are and like how they got to where they are in like the time period of the movie.
Yeah. I would do overall just way less shows. Like
Yeah.
the only 2 I think should even be shows, maybe 3. I think Loki was a great show. Like that was
Oh yeah.
was a great show and should have been a show. WandaVision, great show, should have been a show. It falls a little flat at the end, but it was really unique the way it did, like, progress through the ages. I
Yeah.
think that was justified. The one I'm on the fence about is the Winter Soldier Falcon.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just because I really love the characters of Sam and Bucky, but I really don't think that should have been a show. Like,
Yeah. I agree.
I would have rather seen all that happen in a movie, and it could have been more condensed, and I feel like it was a little bloated in the show. So
Right.
I would just do way, way, way less shows. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree because I feel like the trying to compare the Falcon Winter Soldier with Hawkeye, because Hawkeye felt more like appropriate to be like a show in a sense,
yeah,
and like Falcon Winter Soldier could have been its own thing. It could have been Captain America 4, right? Or like at the end, just like all this in the series, Falcon takes up the mantle of Captain America, and there's Captain America. Or it could have been just like a Falcon Winter Soldier movie, and
yeah.
then like the next thing is Captain America 4.
Hawkeye's another one I think I would have rather been a movie. I mean, he's one of the original Avengers. He doesn't have a movie, and
That's true, yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like the shows. This is for Star Wars too. Really, just all the Disney Plus stuff. For the most part, like obviously there's exceptions, Mandalorian, Loki, but for the most part they're bloated and they're stretched to be a show because they want subscriptions. And
Right.
yeah, I just wish they would do more movies if they did Disney. Like, I think a Disney Plus movie, like I said, for something like Punisher that doesn't need a big budget is a great idea. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also for the Secret Wars stuff. I don't know how I feel about, because when it was announced that they're doing King Dynasty and the Secret Wars, I might be remembering this wrong, but I think they were gonna release both of them at like the same year. When it was
I
like
don't remember.
first announced, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is awesome. But now I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, that's actually a terrible idea, especially like if they're doing like Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman and having. I'm talking about like the original. So like when they announced it at Comic-Con or D23 or whatever. They're announcing King Dynasty and the Secret Wars same year, and then the year before that was Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can you have a Fantastic Four movie come out and then basically less than a year later do Secret Wars, where Secret Wars is like complicated and Fantastic Four lore and stuff like that. And it was like years in the making, Secret Wars, like the comic. It was years in the making, Ultimates universe and then like the main universe stuff like that. And just having that just one movie and then barely a year later the next movie, and that's Secret Wars, just kind of felt like rushed again, very very rushed. So I feel like it should at least scrap one of those two.
Yeah.
You don't need two big events, big Avengers level movie events. Whereas like,
yeah.
so I don't know. I feel like because like King's always talking about like the multiversal war, and I feel like King Dynasty might be like just like a setup movie for Secret Wars.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I don't know. I feel like it should like be properly like thought out and have, because I know for the people who are doing Echo, they don't like the character of Echo in the comics, nor I don't think they have read the comics of Verwell on Echo, and they're like changing her character because they think some aspects of her are like dumb or whatever. So I feel like it's just like hire people, writers, directors, etc., who actually read the comics and like know like this like the source material and like the character to do whatever you want to do, because that's what they're doing for Daredevil. I think the show writer for Daredevil is saying like they're trying to ingest as much Daredevil content, shows, comics, all that stuff, and like as much as they can to prep for their show. I feel like that's like more of what we need.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing I would maybe do if I was in charge of the MCU, this might be too much. I don't know. I would start a whole other animated MCU from scratch.
Okay.
Just a brand new universe, all animated, has nothing to do with the live action MCU. I mean, that might be too much to ask, but I feel like the MCU's like even in the animated show they're doing, What If is like still somewhat connected to the MCU. I just wish they would do something completely different. I feel like they're scared the viewers are gonna like either get confused or like I don't know. I can handle both. I can
Yeah.
I can watch both of them. I think that would be so cool if they did an animated like yeah, I don't know. Obviously that'd be a big project, so
yeah, it could have happened because, but then again, yeah, because a lot of people would be confused on like there's two different universes. I'm like, that's it. There's two different universes. That's just answer your question right there. It's two different universes. They're separate from each other. Watch one or the other or both.
if I was rebooting the DCU, it'd be animated. I can tell you that. I do
thing animated?
The entire thing.
Oh shit. Fair. It's better than one of my what I suggested like a while back, where like since like James Gunn's doing like the whole chapter thing, I would like a whole chapter just dedicated to like the new gods and stuff like that. So I can't say that much of it because I would if I was in charge of DC, that chapter 2 just the new gods, multiple new gods projects, TV shows, movies, or what have you. So I was like, let's focus on the new gods.
Dude, I'd get Lord Miller, the people that did Spider-Verse, and I'd be like, what you're doing, we're gonna do a whole universe that way, and I'd like make them in charge of it, and here we go, the DC animated universe. I know they already like have one, but
the DC animated cinematic universe,
the DC ACU. Right?
Oh my god, oh man, that'd be crazy. I mean, who knows? Because James Gunn I think he said something about also delving into video games, which is I still think it's a bit odd.
A little weird.
Yeah, I would assume like comics, because like it's like a great thing to do, like movie, TV shows, and then like comics or whatever. But like video games, I don't know. Yeah, my reservations on that.
Me too. Yeah, if I was taking over it now, like if not right after Endgame, I definitely the only thing I can really say is I wouldn't get rid of Kang.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about the trial that Jonathan Majors is going through, I would have a pretty simple plan laid out. If he is innocent, if he is proven innocent and everything's okay, go as planned. If he is found guilty, recast him.
Yeah, because this is a guy who has variants.
Yeah,
And like,
exactly.
even though there's like a whole coliseum of King variants, you can just have another guy play King. Like, oh yeah, that's like the old King variants or whatever.
Or even just don't address it and just have him a new guy. And I
Yeah.
mean, Harry Potter did that with Dumbledore. I mean, except he died, so it's a little
Yeah.
different. But yeah, just recast him if he's guilty.
I just think it's so dumb. Where like they're trying like to switch up King with Doom, which at first I would. At first, I think that'd be like a good idea because I feel like it's just like the end of King Dynasty. If like King's working with Doom or whatever, Doom betrays King, kills King, and takes over his power, kills the Beyonders, gets the power of the Beyonders, and like do what he did in like Secret Wars, and they become like God Emperor or God King Doom or something like that. But just have like a complete swap because you don't know what to do with the actor and the character is kind of like stupid because. Again, this is a guy with variants. It's not that hard to do. Just get another guy to do it. I hear a lot of people say, it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but have the guy who played High Evolutionary be Kang, and have like the High Evolutionary be like a Kang variant or whatever. That's what I see people saying on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about all that.
I don't know. I don't know anything about the trial. All I can say is, as an actor, he's killed it as Kang, and I
Yeah.
think, like, just from an acting standpoint, it would suck to see him not be able to play Kang anymore. But obviously, if he is found guilty, you gotta cut ties. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
but there's plenty of great actors. Just get somebody to play Kang. Because the other thing
Yeah.
that scares me about doing this is rushing Doom would be the end of the MCU. If they do
Yeah.
Doom, if they rush Doom and they mess it up, I'm out.
They've done too many times before, and if they do it for a third time, yeah, the MCU would literally be in shambles.
Because like MCU fans probably think Thanos is like, no, the villain of the Marvel universe is Doctor Doom. He's
him.
He is him.
Yeah.
And if they mess him up,
yeah,
like
no.
you cannot just be like, quick, just throw Doom in there to like, oh god, that'll fuck things up so hard.
Oh man. Yeah, that's like the one thing I'm super worried about. Like, how are they gonna do Doom? If they got a lot of people are saying that his Doom costume is gonna be made of like old Iron Man tech.
Isn't that Soups that said that? Isn't that?
It's something like that. Yeah. He also said, "Oh my
dear God, do not do that."
This is not gonna be like a Soups like rant or anything, but it's another thing he said about Doom. Or it's like, what if he's not the leader of Latveria, but he's the leader of Sokovia? I'm like, that's just completely like botches like his whole character.
You can't just rush him in there just because Kang isn't even doing bad. Like as a character, I mean, yeah, Ant-Man Quantumania, but I think the one thing people praised about that movie was Kang.
Yeah.
Like that was the one thing people universally said was good about it, besides him getting beaten by ants.
That's true. I feel like you haven't seen Loki season 2 yet, have you?
I finished it.
You finished it all. Like I know at the end, spoilers if you guys haven't seen Loki season 2 yet, which you should because it's fucking awesome. It's great. I really liked it.
It's great.
How at the end they're just like monitoring like King variants, stuff like that. So I feel like something like that, and like obviously Loki's now how people call it, the god of stories, quote unquote.
It's so dumb, dude.
He's just God Loki. Just like come like God Loki or something. Or just Loki. Just like not the god of stories Loki.
What's funny is the god of stories Loki is it's just by chance, but it's the comic we read. It's just a random Loki comic we read where he goes to, what was it called? It's like it's those two children, the House of Ideas, or it's like the
something like that. Yeah.
And that issue was so cool where it's like he finds out that all these characters actually have gone back to this place and to get more pages in their book. I think that's where the name like God of Stories come from. Is that issue? That issue's.
Yeah.
I did think of that while watching Loki.
Yeah.
Um,
I think there's like other I don't know if it was like a trade paperback collection or an omnibus, but I think there's like a something with Loki, God of Stories. I don't know. I might be remembering it wrong, but people are just like saying, saw someone say, "Oh my god, he's Loki, God of Stories," just ran with it.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. People just run with it. Like, as far as I'm aware, like the spot he's in at the end of season 2 has never been done in the comics. Like this is
Yeah,
this is something like that's new to everything ever. So they didn't really pull this from a comic as far as I'm aware. I think they just they did it.
Which during that whole sequence, I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, "Holy shit!" No, I was geeking out.
I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, but it was. I think it's a really nice, not really ending, but a nice like a little like conclusion to like Loki's story, like a character arc. Yeah, I liked it a lot, but
a theory I've seen. This is not my theory. It's from Comics Explained. Comics Explained on YouTube. Subscribe to him. He's awesome. But his theory is that if Kang even happens anymore, but when all this all goes down with Kang at the end, Loki is going to assemble the multiversal Avengers to fight Kang. It's a really cool theory, I think. But now we don't even know if they're going to do Kang. So
that's true. A multiversal Avengers would be cool. Could have like a superior Iron Man be like one of them. I had a theory where like at the beginning of King, like whatever the fuck event movie they're making, like it opens up with Loki just like there on his throne and like someone like whacking him or like just killing him. Like right off the bat, like the whole timeline's like start messing up again, and like now that's like the whole conflict starts, and whatnot. That's like a theory I had that it would be kind of lame to do it again, like have Loki being killed off again for like the 5th time.
I mean, I think he'd be. Well, I guess maybe he still has variants out there. I don't know.
Probably, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it'll be. It'll be interesting to say the least on how that all pans out. And yeah, people have their theories and they are theories to say the least.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do say I hear a lot of people say like Galactus should be the next big bad, and I feel like he would be bad. He wouldn't be like. I think he'd be terrible as like a big bad, because like if you've read like a Fantastic Four like comic or whatever, he's not necessarily a Thanos type of villain. He's like a force of nature, like a physical embodiment of like a force of nature, and you can't really. I mean, Thor did kill him in like his running Donny Cates, but
he's. I agree.
Weird.
It's hard to explain, but he's like he has to eat planets to survive, and I don't know.
Ultimately, like bring just like have like balance in like the universe, because I'm pretty sure he says that. In, like a comic I read, like a Fantastic Four comic I read, like I have to exist to keep balance like in the universe, like whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
and, like, it makes sense.
He's a really really cool villain. Like but I do agree. I wouldn't want him to be like the next Thanos, like the next like I think it should be Thanos, Kang, Doom. And then if we're going moving to the X-Men, then Magneto,
Yeah, Magneto, Apocalypse, done right.
Apocalypse.
Mr. Sinister. I haven't read. I have no idea who Mr. Sinister is, but a lot of people say like an X-Men big bad could be Mr. Sinister. Who else? Onslaught could be one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a whole plethora, and like I feel like the X-Men could literally have like their own universe, because like there's like speculation where like after Secret Wars, the MCU could do like a soft reboot or just like a reboot in general, and I feel like having like an X-Men like just like cinematic universe would be great because there's a shit ton of X-Men.
Yeah, there is a
Shit
lot.
ton of X-Men like storylines, comics. I mean, like it's like one of like the biggest complaints that people have about getting into X-Men comics is like where to start because there's a lot of material out there.
That's why I don't
And
really like the X-Men.
yeah. Even like with like the starting point, because like whenever like someone said like where should I start with X-Men, I always say start with new X-Men over astonishing X-Men, because a lot of what happens in they talk about the events of new X-Men a lot in astonishing X-Men, and I feel like the astonishing X-Men sets like the ground the base of like the X-Men during that era of their like existence or whatever.
Were you saying, I got confused, were you saying to start with Astonishing or start with new X-Men?
Start with new X-Men. A lot of people say start with Astonishing, but I always say like you start out with new X-Men because that's when, spoiler alert if you haven't read new X-Men, that's where like a lot of things like the paradigm shift of like the X-Men shift. That's where like Genosha, where like they kind of like all like reside, gets bombed into like oblivion, and the population like shrinks down like incredibly low. And it's like it's always being like referenced in like the later X-Men comics that I've read. So I feel like that's like a pretty good starting point. It doesn't really reference a lot previous. It's just like you just jump right in. You get introduced to like not even a lot of characters, like a few of the X-Men, and then you just go on from there.
I read the first volume of New X-Men. I loved it. I read the second volume. And then I turned. I should put it down.
I haven't read it, and I haven't read the New X-Men in a while. I've read it first in the way back then. I forgot what was in the second volume. I don't remember. It probably is that back because I don't remember what it was.
I might try out Astonishing X-Men. I've got it on my reading order, but I've never been able to get into the X-Men. But I can at least admit doing the X-Men in the MCU is like essential. You got to do it.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, and people saying like they're gonna run out of like heroes or like storylines. The X-Men, it's like its own thing. It feels like in the comics and its own thing until you really until like an Avenger or like a Fantastic Four like pops up like, oh yeah, they're in the universe.
Yeah.
But like there's so many X-Men, there's so many possibilities, so many storylines you can do for the X-Men that you can just have like them be in its own thing.
Yeah, it really could be. I agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
That is all for how we would fix MCU post Endgame and what we would do right now for the MCU. Now, last but not least, we're gonna do cover of the month.
Yeah.
And since Invincible is starting back up again,
and he's in Fortnite.
Yeah, he's in Fortnite too. I think the third episode. We're recording this on Thursday. Is dropping tonight too, so I'm watching.
I think so.
Episode 3 too. So cover of the week theme is gonna be Invincible. So if you want to start off, go wild.
Yeah, I think we've done the cover of the month twice, and it's failed as a segment both times. but I think doing a theme will make it more fun. And like I was even thinking next month we can do Aquaman cover of the month because Aquaman comes out that month.
Yeah. Oh, so, I know the perfect cover I'm gonna do with that one.
So having a theme I think makes it a bit more fun. I've got a quick honorable mention I'll do.
Okay.
This is my honorable mention. I've got Invincible 100. This is an homage to the Amazing Spider-Man 100.
Okay.
Which is a classic cover. So I just love the homage. Done really well. Yeah. Had to show this as a quick honorable mention. But my favorite Invincible cover. This is one I genuinely want to like hang up in my room or my apartment or something. It's by far my favorite Invincible cover. It is Invincible 30.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good one.
I really love this one. Just yeah, just the space, just looking down on the earth. Yeah. I love when they put that at the top. They do that for a couple of the books. Probably the best superhero comic book in the universe. I think that's that's uh that's funny. But yeah, this is by far my favorite Invincible cover.
Okay,
So yeah.
awesome. I also have an honorable mention too.
Okay. Okay.
So let me share my screen real quick. So this one, can I expand it? There you go. I like this one a lot. It's I think it's the cover for one of the volumes of the trade paperbacks, but I think this is a really cool
That is. What is that
cover.
called?
I think it's like one of like the later volumes, like volume 8 or
Is it like a
something
trade
like that.
paperback cover?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's one of those. But I think it looks really, really cool because like good guys, bad guys, right there, and then
I wonder
conquest.
if it even could be a variant cover.
It might be this.
I
I
didn't
think
even
this is
think about looking at the trade covers. It's probably a good idea.
yeah. Oh yeah, here's one other picture. Berserk, reading Berserk, volume 6, and then there's Orion. Great stuff. I love both of them. And then here's my cover of the month right here. Is
Let's see.
the Invincible fighting the Sequids.
Ooh, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I like
I
that.
thought because I know in I totally forgot about the Sequids in Invincible until they mentioned it. I think in the first episode, and I was like, oh fuck. If you haven't read like the Invincible comics, the Sequids are like a huge problem
Dude,
for
yeah,
like the world.
they show up early, but they
They
they're
fuck
like
up
a
shit.
yeah,
they
they're a problem like throughout the entire series kind of. Like they don't really go away.
yeah. You think they like the writers forgot about the Sequids, but like no, it's just like they're scheming about something and then they try to conquer the world and shit like that. But like yeah, I really like this one. And plus I
Dude,
love like the black and blue Invincible suit. So
I heard that they tease it at the end of episode 2, and all I'm going to say is for those of you that have not read Invincible, when when Mark puts on that blue suit, nothing but bad things happen. It never goes well for Mark when he is in that
yeah,
blue suit.
yeah,
So shit is
that's
about
true.
to go down.
Yeah, if you thought like the fight between Omni Man and Invincible was like bad, that's like, and it's a bit of a cliche, but that's literally the tip of the iceberg of like how much shit goes down in like the Invincible series. So if
It's
you
true.
thought that was crazy, you have no idea what's about to come.
I know. I have so many friends, like many friends that are like, I'm so tired of multiverse stories. And I'm like, you know what? I do get it. I do
Yeah,
get it.
yeah,
It's been a bit too much lately. But I'm like, dude, trust me, this is the best multiverse story that I've ever seen, heard, read, anything. It's the best one. I was like,
yeah.
just
It's
watch.
insane.
Just
It is insane, and when that happens, I don't know, because when I was reading, I was like, "Oh shit!"
dude, yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god!"
Invincible more than any other comic made me be like, oh shit. Like
yeah.
oh
Oh,
shit.
like oh yeah. I mean, like there's like it's super consistent in its quality. I do think in like the middle to like the more like the middle part, like Mark becomes like just like a whiny little bitch sometimes. But like just like storytelling wise and like just like writing wise, it's just been like it's super consistent. It doesn't really fall back at all, and it's great. I think it's what like I don't want to say it's 300 issues, is it? I think it's less.
I think it's 150.
Oh, okay,
At
yeah. So it's like
144. 144.
140. Okay, 144. Yeah. So it's throughout all like 144 issues. It's just nothing but consistent like storytelling. Maybe like they just come up with new like things to keep the story fresh and like keep you on your toes and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And I just love that, like the same thing with the sequids and other things, like things that they introduce in the very beginning or like towards the start that you think may just kind of be like they almost always lead into something greater at the end. Uh, like everything has a purpose.
Yeah, especially like the Lizard League too.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Dude, my friend was like, he said that to me. He goes, the Lizard League. He goes, I don't care. I was like, dude, just watch. I was like, just
Just
watch,
watch.
dude. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Because I was watching with some of my friends too, and they're like, "Who the fuck are the Lizard League?" And I'm like, "You got no idea. You got no idea." But
just keep watching.
Yeah, like if you think something's stupid or like just like dumb or like redundant, most likely it's not, and most
Yeah,
likely it is not.
I agree. It's almost always got some kind of glorious purpose.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are like wondering this, and like the creators are like kind of like not really answering the question about like a possibility with a Invincible Spider-Man crossover, since like they did have like that one crossover issue. How like they could cross over in the show, which I don't see how that could happen because of rights and copyright issues and stuff like that.
I
In terms
almost
of like,
would
the
want it to
show,
be a not even a part. I wouldn't want it to be a part of the show. If they did it,
yeah,
I'd want it to be like a offshoot, one-off, like
like what they did for the Adam Eve special, right?
yeah,
Because
something
something
like
like that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Because when Invincible got announced for Fortnite, a lot of people saying like, "Who wants to run duos with me as Invincible and someone else as Spider-Man?"
that. That is a good idea.
Yeah. Um. But yeah.
Dude, when does he
Watching
drop?
Invincible. Watching Invincible makes me want to reread the series again, and I might have to.
Yeah, I do agree. Like after I watched, I wanted to reread, but I got too many comics I want to read that I haven't read. That I was like, I
I know. Because on League of Comic Geeks, which you guys should definitely follow us on League of Comic Geeks, I made a list of all the comic books that I want to read. And I'm like every day I'm adding like 5 or 10 new comics to that list. And
Yeah,
right now the list is at 903 comic books right now.
yeah. I've got mine is like runs, and I just put like the first issue, and I have,
Okay.
I mean, Aquaman New 52. I've got Hickman's both Fantastic Four and Avengers, um, Hellboy. I've got some rereads I want to
Yeah.
reread that I haven't reread in forever, like Ultimate Spider-Man. And then just other like random stuff I've never read. Like I really, really want to read Charlie Huston's Moon Knight. There's a lot of
Oh, I really like the first like 2 or 3 volumes of that. It's pretty solid. It's dark.
yeah.
It's
There's
dark.
a lot of stuff. Like I'm just going through it. War of Kings. I've never read that,
Yeah.
which directly follows up on Conquest and Irish Conquest. Um,
I know there's Realm of Kings, which is like the sequel to War of Kings.
yeah, Realm of King, War of Kings. I want to read Eastman and Laird's Ninja Turtles. Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. There's a lot of
Yeah. Like it's a lot. I got a lot to read. And yeah. It's I have from yeah, because like I have the Invincible series right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right
Oh,
here.
there it is.
Yeah, Invincible. So I already have it on my list. I have Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, Boom Studios, uh, TKO Comics, Fantagraphic, like and like a bunch of other publishers, like lesser like known publishers. I have like this whole section right here. You cannot see it at all, but it's just all independent stuff. It's all independent shit, and it's a lot I want to read. So, and I just like do like a random number generator, or I say like Siri pick a number between 1 and 903, and then whatever it lands on,
That's
that's
it.
what I
Yeah,
read.
I like that idea. I've just I've been mapping out my stuff. Like after JMS's Spider-Man, I want to read New 52 Aquaman because the movie's coming out and I've always wanted to read that. Just never gotten around to it. I don't think it's that long either, so um yeah, and then I want to start reading some Hickman stuff as we get closer to the new Ultimate Universe. Not that it's going to tie in. I just kind of
Yeah.
want to read some of his stuff that I haven't read. I'll show this before we stop talking about what we want to read. Here's a comic I just found out about. I had no idea it existed, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to read this." And I feel like if you haven't heard of it, you'll feel the same way. The Secret Avengers, written by Ed Brubaker. It's got Nova, Captain America, Beast, Moon Knight, War Machine. I don't know who that is. It might be Jane Foster Thor. I don't know. But
Oh shit.
it's written by Ed Brubaker. I was like, whoa, I didn't know this existed.
I know. I heard of the like the regular Avengers New Age stuff, but I've never seen the Secret Avengers.
Me neither.
Heroic Age stuff.
And Ed Brubaker is one of the best writers ever, and I just love this lineup. Black Widow.
Yeah. Beast, War Machine, Cap. I think that is Jane Foster Thor. I don't know.
Let's see. Sharon Carter or Valkyrie or one of the
shit.
two.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
sounds.
Eric O'Grady, Ant-Man.
Never heard
This
that
is
guy.
this is a cool lineup. I'm trying to see if he's on the cover. As like a little ant guy.
Probably is. We just can't see him.
But that is a comic I recently found out about, and I added that. I put it towards the top of my list of stuff that I want to read. I was like, that sounds awesome.
I'm about to add it right now. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm always adding like stuff to my list, and it's getting overwhelming. Alrighty, well, that's it for today's episode. You have anything else to add while we're still here?
I'm excited to spend some money on Fortnite.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Thank you everyone for listening to today's episode. Make sure to check out all of our other episodes we've done. I think this is episode 34, 6, 36, 35.
It's in the 30s.
Like it's in the mid to late 30s. So we're up. Make sure to follow us on social media, RTW, Threads. Got to put that number 1. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. And check out League of Comic Geeks. It's a great app for comic book collectors and readers. Highly recommend it. I think the yearly thing is like $10 or like $12, which is pretty cool. You can see your stats on like what you've read, what you have. It's pretty useful.
Very much so.
Alrighty. And that's it for today's episode. Anything else to add? Are we all good?
Oh yeah. Next episode, we are reviewing Sins Past. Spider-Man Sins Past. Spider-Tober extends a little bit into November, and we are reading one of the most notorious Spider-Man stories, Sins Past. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be a good idea to do like we would like read like notoriously bad comics and then we just tier rank them. That'd be a really cool idea. But anyways, that's it for today's episode. Make sure to follow us on social media, and we'll see you on the next episode.